Have you ever wondered what happens when you choose to step away? When you stop chasing, stop explaining, and simply let your absence speak for itself? In a world where people often fail to appreciate what's right in front of them, walking away can become the most powerful message you send. It's a silent declaration of self-respect, a statement that you will no longer tolerate being undervalued or taken for granted. Your absence has the power to spark reflection, evoke emotions, and leave a lasting impression. It forces others to confront the void you leave behind, to face the reality of what they've lost. Often, people don't realize the value of a genuine connection until it's gone. Your departure becomes a mirror, reflecting their choices, actions, and the consequences that follow. But this isn't just about them. It's about you. Stepping away is a courageous act of prioritizing your own well-being and rediscovering your inner strength. It's about setting boundaries, reclaiming your peace, and reminding yourself that you are worthy of respect, loyalty, and kindness. In this video, we'll explore the transformative power of absence and the ripple effects it creates. From the regret that often follows, to the silent messages it sends, to the newfound strength you discover within yourself, you'll see why walking away isn't a sign of weakness. It's a bold step toward self-empowerment. Whether you're struggling with a difficult relationship, feeling undervalued, or seeking a way to reclaim your sense of self, this message is for you. Stay tuned as we delve into the 10 profound things that happen when you choose to let go, embrace your absence, and allow others to feel the impact of losing someone as extraordinary as you. Let's begin. Number 1. The void left behind. When you step away, something undeniable happens. A void is created. This isn't just a gap in someone's routine, it's the absence of your presence, your energy, and everything unique you brought into their life. While you may not have realized it at the time, your presence had a profound impact. It wasn't just about the things you said or did, it was about how you made them feel, the way you supported them, and the value you added to their world. This void is often underestimated. At first, they might feel relief or even indifference, especially if they took you for granted. But as time passes, the reality begins to sink in. The conversations you had, the moments you shared, and the emotional security you provided start to stand out in stark contrast to your absence. What once felt ordinary now feels irreplaceable. In the stillness of their solitude, they begin to notice what's missing. Your laughter, your insight, your unwavering support. These aren't things that can be easily replicated. The void becomes more than just a physical absence. It's an emotional gap that serves as a reminder of what they no longer have. This realization can be unsettling, as it forces them to confront the role you played in their life and the ways they may have failed to appreciate you. But the void isn't just about them, it's about you too. In choosing to step away, you've created space for yourself. It's a chance to breathe, to refocus, and to rebuild. The absence you leave behind in their life is also the freedom you gain in your own. You're no longer tied down by the weight of feeling unappreciated or undervalued. Instead, you have the opportunity to fill that space with things that nourish your soul and uplift your spirit. As the days go by, the void you've left becomes a mirror reflecting back to them the depth of your contributions. They begin to see the small, often overlooked details that made you irreplaceable. The way you listened when they needed an ear, the encouragement you offered when they doubted themselves, and the comfort you provided without expecting anything in return. This absence forces them to reckon with their own behavior and choices. Did they truly value you? Did they reciprocate the care and effort you gave so freely? These questions linger, often accompanied by the sting of regret. And while they're left grappling with these realizations, you're busy reclaiming your peace, rediscovering your worth, and rebuilding a life that isn't dependent on someone else's validation. The void you leave behind is not just a reminder of your absence, it's a testament to your presence. It's a silent but powerful message. You are not someone to be taken for granted. By walking away, you've shown that your value isn't diminished by their failure to see it. Instead, it becomes even more evident in the space you leave behind. Number 2, the subtle ways they feel your absence. When you leave, it's not always the loud moments of departure that make the most impact. Often, it's the quiet, subtle ways your absence begins to ripple through their life, leaving behind a trail of realization they can't ignore. These moments aren't dramatic or overt. They're the small, everyday experiences that slowly remind them of what they've lost. At first, they might not even recognize what's happening, but as time passes, there's a shift in their emotions and behavior. They begin to notice the gaps in their life where your presence once filled them. They feel the absence during moments of silence that once felt comfortable but now seem heavy, as if something is missing from the air. The places you used to visit together may start to feel different, emptier, quieter. There's an undeniable void in familiar places that weren't there before, a reminder of the times shared. Now, only memories. Perhaps they find themselves reaching for their phone to text or call you, only to remember that you're no longer there to respond. These small moments of longing are subtle, but they grow stronger as they realize they can't fill the space you left behind. They begin to understand that no matter how many distractions they surround themselves with, nothing compares to the connection they once had with you. In these quiet moments of recognition, they feel your absence more intensely than they ever would in a loud confrontation. There's also the sense of emotional disorientation. When you were there, they may have relied on your presence for emotional stability or comfort. Whether it was the reassurance you provided in difficult moments or the sense of security that came from knowing you were there, your absence creates a subtle emotional imbalance. They start to feel unsettled, unsure of how to navigate their feelings without the steady presence they once took for granted. It's not something they can easily articulate, but they sense the shift, a sense of imbalance in their own emotional landscape that wasn't there before. Your absence also affects the way they engage with the world around them. They may find themselves withdrawing from others or feeling disconnected, unable to replicate the connection they shared with you. No one else seems to understand them quite the way you did, and that realization can be both isolating and painful. They might try to fill the gap with new people or activities, but those never seem to measure up to what you provided. Something deeper, something real. These subtle signs accumulate over time, but they're often ignored or dismissed until it's too late. At first, they might try to convince themselves that everything is fine, that they're doing just as well without you. But the more they go through their daily life, the more they're confronted with the reality that something is missing and that something is you. The small moments that once felt insignificant now become reminders of the absence you left behind, forcing them to grapple with the truth of what they've lost. Your absence may not be loud, but it's undeniably felt. It's in the silent spaces between their thoughts, in the empty seat at their side, and in the absence of the warmth that once came from your presence. And as time moves forward, the subtle ways they feel your absence only grow stronger, as the realization of your value becomes clearer with each passing day. Number 3, absence is a mirror to their actions. When you choose to step away and create distance, it becomes a mirror that reflects their past actions in ways they can no longer ignore. Absence doesn't just create space, it offers them an opportunity to look back at the decisions they made, the words they spoke, and the way they treated you. This reflective moment is often uncomfortable, but it's a powerful one. It forces them to face the reality of their behavior and recognize the consequences of their choices. At first, they may not immediately understand why you've distanced yourself. They may try to justify their actions or find external reasons for the shift in your relationship. But as time goes on, they're left alone with their thoughts, and your absence becomes a mirror reflecting the gaps between what they said and what they did. They begin to see how their words may have been empty, how their promises were unfulfilled, and how their treatment of you didn't align with the respect and care you deserved. For many, this is a difficult realization. The truth of their actions isn't always apparent when they have someone right in front of them. It's easy to overlook how they treat someone when they take that person's presence for granted. But when you walk away, they can no longer deny what they've done. The absence doesn't just show them what's missing, it reveals the truth of their neglect, their mistakes, and their failure to appreciate you. The mirror of your absence forces them to confront their own behavior in a way that's not possible when you're constantly present. It holds up a clear reflection of how they've treated you, and in the silence left behind, they may begin to question whether they truly valued your time, your energy, and your love. They may begin to see how their actions didn't align with their feelings, or how they failed to acknowledge your worth when you were right there in front of them. This mirror effect can lead to regret and guilt. As they reflect on their past choices, they may come to the painful conclusion that they pushed away someone who genuinely cared for them. The absence becomes a space for them to sit with their own mistakes and feel the weight of what they lost. The more they think about it, the clearer it becomes that they didn't treat you with the respect or consideration you deserved, and now they must face the fallout of their actions. But the mirror doesn't only show them what they did wrong, it also reveals the value you brought to their life. It reflects the love, support, and understanding that you gave, and in your absence, they may begin to understand just how much you contributed to their happiness and well-being. Without you there, they may finally see how important your presence truly was in their life. Absence is a powerful tool for self-reflection, not just for the person who left, but for the one who stayed behind. It's a mirror that shows them the truth about themselves and their treatment of others. And sometimes, that mirror is the only way they'll see the full extent of their actions and the consequences that come with them. It's a silent but impactful reminder that how we treat others matters, because in the end, absence often reveals the truth that presence can conceal. Number 4, the longing for your presence. When you choose to distance yourself and create space in a relationship, your absence can stir a deep sense of longing in the other person. Initially, they might not understand why you've pulled away, but as time goes on, they begin to feel the weight of your absence more profoundly. This longing isn't just about missing someone, it's about realizing the irreplaceable role you played in their life and the void your departure has left behind. They begin to miss more than just your physical presence. They miss your energy, your support, and the connection you once shared. The first signs of longing often emerge as a subtle feeling of discomfort. At first, they might try to fill the space you left with distractions, other people, new activities, or even busy routines. But no matter how much they try to shift their focus, there's an undeniable feeling that something is missing. It's a gnawing emptiness that nothing seems to fill. And with each passing day, the longing intensifies. It becomes clear that your absence isn't something easily replaced. As the days turn into weeks, the absence becomes more tangible. They start to miss the little things you used to do, the thoughtful gestures, the way you listened without judgment, or the way you offered support when things got tough. These are the moments that, at the time, might have seemed small or insignificant, but now they stand out as meaningful reminders of the bond you shared. Your absence causes them to realize how much of their life was intertwined with yours and how much they took for granted. The longing for your presence often emerges as a reflection of their own realization of what they've lost. They begin to recognize that you brought something to their life that no one else can. Your support, kindness, and presence were unique, and now that you're no longer there, the space you left behind feels hollow. The more they try to fill it, the more they understand that no one can replace what you offered. This longing is not always immediate. It can take time for them to process the impact of your absence, but as they reflect, the realization begins to settle in that they pushed someone away who genuinely cared for them. The warmth, comfort, and emotional connection you provided are suddenly missed in a way they never anticipated. They may start to regret their actions or wish they had valued you more when they had the chance. Longing, in this sense, becomes a form of self-awareness. It forces them to look at their behavior and recognize how they contributed to the situation. It also highlights the role you played in their life, making them see just how much they've lost by not appreciating you fully. Sometimes, longing is the emotional consequence of realizing that they took something beautiful for granted. Ultimately, the longing for your presence reveals the true depth of your impact. It's a silent but powerful testament to the value you brought to their life and the emotional space you once filled. As they long for you, they're not just missing a person, they're missing a part of themselves that was connected to you. Your absence makes them see, perhaps for the first time, how much your presence meant, and in that longing, they're forced to reckon with the consequences of their actions. In the end, longing is not just a sign of what they miss. It's a clear reflection of the important role you played in their life, a role they may not have realized was so vital until you were no longer there. Number 5. Silence as a declaration of self-worth. Silence in many situations is more powerful than words. When you choose to remain silent, especially in the face of mistreatment or neglect, you send a message that transcends any verbal communication. It is a silent declaration of your self-worth. By stepping back and refraining from unnecessary explanations, you assert that you value yourself too much to be involved in situations where your presence is not appreciated. Choosing silence over confrontation is not about avoiding conflict or passive-aggressive behavior. Instead, it is about demonstrating a deep sense of self-respect and the strength to walk away from situations that no longer serve you. Silence becomes your shield, protecting your emotional well-being, and it allows you to maintain your dignity while others are left to confront the consequences of their actions. When you choose to stay away and remain silent, you're not chasing after validation or approval. You're honoring yourself. Silence speaks volumes because it forces the other person to confront the absence of your presence. It reveals that you're not desperate for attention or affection, but that your value is inherent and non-negotiable. When someone is used to having your constant presence and suddenly finds you silent or distant, they are left to question their own actions. This pause from your side can make them reflect on how they treated you, how they failed to recognize your value, or how they took you for granted. By stepping away and choosing silence, you send a message that you will not be anyone's second option, backup, or afterthought. This is a profound statement of self-worth. It is an act of recognizing that your emotional needs and your peace of mind are not for sale, and you will not tolerate being treated as anything less than valuable. This decision is not driven by anger or a desire for revenge, but by the understanding that your worth does not depend on anyone else's approval. Your absence is not meant to punish, but to protect your peace and your sense of self. Silence also offers you the opportunity to reflect and to heal. While the other person may feel the loss of your presence, you're using this time to reconnect with yourself. It's a chance for you to rebuild your self-esteem, focus on personal growth, and remember who you are outside of the dynamics of that relationship. You regain control over your emotional state and learn to prioritize yourself over someone else's validation. The power of silence, when practiced in situations where respect is lacking, is a reminder that your time, energy, and love are precious. You do not need to beg for recognition or affection. By stepping back, you communicate that you deserve to be treated with the same level of respect you give to others. It becomes a firm boundary, not to be crossed, and a message to the world that you will not settle for less than you deserve. Ultimately, silence, as a declaration of self-worth, is an assertion of your autonomy. You're telling the world that you can stand strong in your own value, independent of anyone's actions or opinions. In this silence, you are showing yourself and others that you know who you are, and that your presence is not something to be taken lightly. And sometimes, the loudest message is the one that is never spoken. Number 6. Absence and inner growth. Absence is often viewed as a void, a space left behind when someone or something is no longer present. However, in the context of personal growth, absence can become a powerful catalyst for transformation. When you choose to step back, whether from a relationship, a situation, or a pattern of behavior, you create the space necessary for inner growth. This absence isn't just about what's missing, it's about what's being cultivated within yourself during this time apart. One of the first gifts that absence offers is the freedom to reconnect with yourself. When you're constantly in the presence of others or seeking validation from external sources, you lose sight of your own needs, desires, and goals. Absence forces you to focus inward, allowing you to rediscover who you are, what you truly want, and what brings you fulfillment. It's an opportunity to reflect on your life's direction, free from the noise and distractions of outside influences. As you embrace the space that absence provides, you become more attuned to your own emotions, needs, and boundaries. The silence allows you to heal from past wounds, as you no longer have to navigate the complexities of other people's behaviors or expectations. You can begin to process unresolved emotions, find peace with the past, and move forward without the weight of old attachments. Absence acts as a cleansing force, giving you the room to grow and release any negative energy that may have been holding you back. Another significant aspect of absence is the ability to develop emotional independence. When you're constantly engaged with others, whether in relationships, friendships, or work, you can become dependent on them for emotional validation or support. Absence teaches you to stand on your own 2 feet. You learn to trust your own judgment, seek fulfillment within yourself, and find strength in solitude. This independence fosters a deeper sense of self-worth, as you realize that you are enough on your own and you do not need others to complete you. Absence also provides clarity. When you remove yourself from a situation or relationship, you gain a clearer perspective on what truly matters. You can step back and see things from a distance, allowing you to make decisions that align with your true values and aspirations. It becomes easier to evaluate whether a relationship or situation is serving your highest good or draining your energy. This clarity allows you to make intentional choices that support your growth and well-being. Over time, absence helps you build resilience. By creating space and stepping away, you learn to trust that you are capable of handling life on your own. You realize that your happiness is not dependent on others, but rather it comes from within. You begin to cultivate a sense of peace that is not easily disturbed by external circumstances or other people's actions. This resilience becomes a foundation upon which you can build a life that is truly your own, one that is grounded in self-love, strength, and authenticity. Ultimately, absence is a transformative tool for inner growth. It is not a sign of weakness or avoidance, but rather a conscious choice to prioritize yourself, your well-being, and your personal evolution. When you embrace the silence and solitude that absence brings, you create the space for healing, reflection, and personal development. In this absence, you find the opportunity to reconnect with your inner power and emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true self. Number 7. The regret that follows. Regret is an insidious emotion that quietly creeps into the hearts of those who have failed to appreciate something of value until it is gone. It often takes time to manifest, starting as a subtle feeling of discomfort and growing stronger with each passing day. When you create distance in a relationship or step away from a situation that no longer serves you, the regret of those left behind becomes inevitable. They may not realize the importance of your presence until the void you leave becomes impossible to ignore. The regret that follows your absence isn't just about missing someone. It's about the realization that they had something meaningful, something real, and they failed to recognize it when it was within their reach. Over time, as the days pass, they begin to replay memories, conversations they took for granted, the moments where your support was unwavering, the small acts of kindness they never acknowledged. They realize, in hindsight, that your presence wasn't just a routine part of their life, but a rare and valuable gift they neglected. This feeling of regret is often accompanied by a sense of guilt. They begin to wonder why they pushed you away, why they didn't make more of an effort, why they allowed you to slip through their fingers. The longer they sit with this emotion, the clearer it becomes. They lost someone who genuinely cared for them, someone who was there when it mattered most. They start to understand that your absence isn't just an absence of a person, it's an absence of the love, support, and attention they once took for granted. In many cases, the person who now regrets losing you may try to fill the space you left with other people or distractions. However, nothing compares to what you once brought into their life. They may find temporary solace in these distractions, but as time goes on, the weight of the loss becomes heavier. The realization of what they've lost begins to gnaw at them, a constant reminder that they missed an opportunity to value something truly irreplaceable. This regret is not just about longing for the person they lost, but about understanding that they were given a chance to experience something real and let it slip away. They now see that your presence wasn't simply given, it was earned. The moments of connection, the quiet understanding, and the care you provided were the result of mutual respect and affection. Now, in your absence, they realize just how much they took that for granted. What makes this regret even more painful is that it is often too late to undo the damage. You can't rewind time or reverse the actions that led to your absence, and as much as they may want to make amends or reconnect, they will forever carry the weight of the choices they made. The regret serves as a painful reminder that actions have consequences, sometimes consequences that cannot be undone, no matter how much time passes. In the end, your absence becomes a lasting imprint on their heart, a constant reminder of what they could have had and the opportunity they missed. This regret is not only a reflection of their actions, but also a silent lesson about the value of presence, the importance of appreciation, and the fleeting nature of time. And as they sit with this regret, they are forced to reckon with the reality that they let something good slip away, something that may never return. Number 8. The silent message. Your absence sends. When you step away from a situation, whether it's a relationship, friendship, or any form of connection, your absence speaks volumes without you saying a word. In a world that often seeks validation through words, actions, and explanations, silence can be one of the most powerful messages you can send. It's a declaration that words may fail to communicate, but actions, or in this case, the absence of action, speak louder than anything you could ever express verbally. Your absence isn't just the empty space you leave behind, it's a statement of self-respect and boundaries. By stepping away, you are silently telling others that you value yourself too much to remain in a situation that doesn't honor you, your needs, or your worth. You are not here to beg for attention, nor are you willing to chase after someone else's validation. In your absence, you're teaching others how to treat you by setting a boundary that they cannot ignore. The silent message you send is often a reminder of the qualities you once brought into their lives: kindness, loyalty, understanding, and support. In your presence, these traits were often taken for granted, overlooked, or not fully appreciated. But in the silence, when you're no longer there to offer them, their absence becomes a glaring void. It forces the person left behind to confront their actions, to think about what they lost, and to realize that your presence wasn't something they could have forever without nurturing it. While you are absent, they are left with the consequences of their choices. No amount of words can erase the impact your absence has made. It serves as a constant reminder that the support, love, and attention they once took for granted are now gone. The message is clear. You cannot keep someone around without putting in the effort and respect they deserve. Your absence sends the message that you are no longer willing to tolerate disrespect or neglect. It is a reflection of your self-worth and your refusal to accept anything less than what you deserve. What makes this silent message even more powerful is that it allows the other person to reflect on their actions without the pressure of you being there. You give them space to think, to regret, and to understand the depth of their loss. It forces them to reckon with their own decisions and realize that they've lost something real and irreplaceable. Sometimes, people need this silence to recognize the value of what they had. Words can often be misinterpreted or ignored, but absence creates an undeniable void that cannot be overlooked. Moreover, this silence isn't just a message to others, it's a message to yourself. It's a reminder of your own strength, resilience, and self-respect. In choosing to walk away and create space, you're affirming your own boundaries and your commitment to preserving your peace and happiness. The silent message you send is just as much about reinforcing your own self-worth as it is about teaching others how to treat you. In the end, your absence can carry more weight than any explanation or confrontation ever could. It stands as a testament to your self-respect, your boundaries, and your unwillingness to settle for less than you deserve. So, remember, sometimes the most powerful message is the one that remains unspoken, the one that echoes in the silence left behind. Number 9, when they finally reach out. There comes a moment when, after weeks, months, or even years of silence, the person who once took you for granted might finally reach out. It could be an apology, a simple check-in, or an attempt to rekindle the connection that was severed. But by the time they contact you, something profound has changed within you. Your absence has allowed you to grow, to rediscover your own strength, and to reclaim your self-worth in ways you never expected. At the heart of this change is the realization that your value is no longer dependent on their approval or validation. Before, you might have waited for their attention, sought their approval, or even bent over backward to make them see your worth. But now, the tables have turned. The silence you created wasn't just about teaching them a lesson. It was about allowing yourself the space to heal and find peace outside of the connection that once held you captive. Your peace, happiness, and self-worth are no longer dictated by their actions or decisions. When they finally reach out, you may find yourself facing a moment of reckoning. You may question whether it's worth reopening the door to someone who once overlooked you, or if the time spent apart has truly changed anything. The truth is, by this point, you've already made the most important connection, the one with yourself. You've learned that your happiness and sense of fulfillment must come from within, not from the validation or attention of someone else. Their reaching out may come with an apology, a plea for forgiveness, or an attempt to explain their actions. But at this point, it's important to remember that your absence has created a shift in power. You no longer need them to fill the void or to give you the validation you once sought. You've rebuilt your life on your own terms, and you have the strength to make decisions based on what truly serves your well-being. You've learned that boundaries aren't just about keeping people out. They're about protecting your energy and preserving your self-respect. So, when they reach out, the question becomes, is their apology or attempt to reconnect enough to make you open the door again? Are they truly offering the change, commitment, and respect you deserve, or is it just another round of empty words? By the time they reach out, you've likely built a life that doesn't depend on them. Your sense of peace is intact, and you've learned to trust yourself and your judgment. If you choose to respond, it will be on your terms, and only if you believe that the connection is worth rekindling. The choice is now yours, and for the first time in a long time, you hold the power. Their reach out is no longer about you feeling validated. It's about you assessing if their presence aligns with the person you've become. You are no longer the person who feels incomplete without them. Instead, you are a whole individual, and if they wish to re-enter your life, they must prove that they have changed and that they respect the person you've become. Ultimately, their reaching out is a reflection of the impact you've had on their life and a testament to the power of your absence. It may have taken them time to recognize it, but now they understand the true value of what they lost. The ball is in your court, and you must decide whether to invite them back or continue to move forward on your own, stronger than ever. Number 10. Embracing the strength of your absence. There is undeniable power in walking away, in choosing silence over words, and in stepping back rather than chasing after someone who doesn't recognize your worth. The strength of your absence is often underestimated, but it's in this very silence that the most profound lessons are learned, both by the person you've distanced yourself from and by yourself. Embracing the strength of your absence isn't about retreating in fear or withdrawing in anger. It's about standing firm in your self-respect and recognizing your own value. Sometimes the most powerful action you can take is to let go, to let the space you leave behind speak for itself. Your presence, once so vibrant and impactful, becomes a reminder to those who have taken it for granted of what they are no longer entitled to. The absence becomes a mirror, reflecting their own choices, their neglect, and their failure to appreciate what was right in front of them. By stepping away, you are not seeking revenge or trying to punish anyone. Instead, you are reclaiming your power, your peace, and your sense of self. When you continually offer your time, energy, and emotional investment to someone who does not reciprocate, you deplete yourself. But when you choose to remove yourself from the equation, you are allowing yourself the space to heal, to grow, and to realign with who you truly are. You send a message, not just to the person who is no longer in your life, but to yourself, that you are worthy of respect, care, and consideration. You are not a mere option, but a priority. Your absence speaks volumes because it's not about the noise of confrontation or drama. It's about the quiet strength of your decision to no longer tolerate disrespect. By choosing to prioritize your well-being, you teach others the importance of boundaries. You show that you will not settle for less than you deserve, and you refuse to accept anything less than what you give. This silent action often creates more of an impact than any verbal confrontation could. It's the moment when you stop chasing and start valuing yourself that the full weight of your absence is felt. When they realize what they've lost, it may come too late. The space you've left behind might seem empty to them at first, but over time they will begin to recognize the profound difference your presence made in their life. It's in the absence that they learn just how irreplaceable you were. They will reflect on your kindness, your loyalty, your support, and your love, qualities they took for granted when they had them. And it's in that regret that they realize how much they've truly lost. However, this absence is not just for them to realize your value. It is also for you. You too must embrace the strength of your absence. It's a reminder that you are not defined by anyone else. Your worth does not depend on being needed or wanted by someone else. When you choose to walk away, you affirm your own strength, your own independence, and your own ability to live a fulfilled life without relying on external validation. Embracing the strength of your absence is not about vengeance. It is about reclaiming your power and learning that sometimes the loudest message you can send is the one you don't say. You teach others to respect you by respecting yourself first. And when they finally understand the impact of your absence, you'll have already moved forward, stronger, wiser, and more self-assured. Your absence, in the end, becomes your most powerful statement.